Howdy folks, Joe DeSanto here, coming to you live from my minivan. That's right, I'm on a road trip right now. Family and I like to do road trips. And I figured, hey, I'm just driving, why not make some videos and, increase the excitement via danger of the road trip. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna keep my eyes on the road. I'm just gonna talk to you. I'm going to answer this question about why is it I think, I'm got so into like personal finance and stuff. People ask me this question a lot. And I'm going to just, explain it. Not yet again. So, part of my personality is, I would say I'm a little bit of a control freak. I was like that in my business. Really felt like I had to, make sure everything got done right and done well. And I think, there's good things to that and there's bad things to that. But I think also, I know that when it comes to my own personal financial life, it's always been the case where I feel like I just wanted to be in control. I wanted to know what was up, rather than not know and feel like it would just make me feel uneasy and scattered and like kind of stressed. So it just makes me calmer to know the reality of my finances, good or bad. That's always been the case. And of course it's good now generally. Back when I was young, it was always bad. You might have read, I think my debt peaked at about $70,000, $72,000 with a mix of student loans and credit card debt. About $40,000 of credit card debt. That was I think at the age of 26. And then thank God it turned around and it worked out. But why am I a control freak about the money? Why do I feel better, when I feel like I know what's up, good or bad? And I think I know the reason. And it's a pretty personal thing. When I was about 9 or so, my parents started getting divorced, and it was a pretty gnarly divorce. And me and my sister went with my mother at the end of the divorce. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom and really had no job skills. She was a very smart woman and always did really good in school. Started college, or then got married. Dropped out of college and started having kids. This is in the 60s. And my dad was a successful business person. He owned a plumbing and heating company. So my dad made the money and my mom was at home. Well, anyway, cut to getting divorced. Now my mom was kind of on her own with 2 kids. And unfortunately, the divorce was kind of an intense divorce. And it was, when we came out of it, we were estranged from my dad, for 2 or 3 years, I would say. And we just had no communication. And really, my mom got what she got in the divorce, which was like the house and some child support. And we didn't have much communication with my dad for a long time. And, and no additional monies. So it turned out now that our money was kind of in my mom's hands. And my mom turns out just not very good with money. God bless her, I love her, but it just was not one of her strong suits. So that's problem number 1. And problem number 2, well, there's many problems, but my mom decided that she wanted to send my sister and I to these expensive private prep schools. And I'm so glad she did. I loved going to school at this school. It's called Moses Brown. And I just had a good experience there and was really enjoying it. But I wasn't really, it was expensive, and I wasn't really like attuned to like how much that was affecting our income or our money. Like my mom didn't have much income. She ended up eventually getting a job as administrative assistant, but I think she was making like $20,000 a year, not much. And so essentially she was burning through our money, the money we had, which was the equity of the house, and she did that by taking out a home equity loan. piling up credit cards and then, spending whatever cash she had. And I wasn't obviously part of that process, but I could see that the stress, it was starting to mount. Like, I was definitely feeling the stress energy. Inevitably, I did end up in conversations with my mother about money. And, so this is the age of 12, 13. And at some point one day, as my mother and I were having a discussion about money, I don't know what prompted it. Maybe it was me wanting something or whatever, because my mom did also buy us a lot of stuff. Like, we were kids, you asked for things, my mom would say yes a lot, and God bless her. But anyway, this one day, I was getting the sense that the money situation wasn't very good, and I was like, well, how much money do we have? And she goes, well, we don't have any money. It's all gone. I'm just like, what? What? I'm like, is that even possible? Is it possible to have no money in life? And she's like, well, I did the mortgage on the house. I mean, I guess we have, ultimately we had less than zero money because we were basically in debt. Inevitably, my mom filed bankruptcy, but of course what ended up happening too was I had to leave that private prep school that I was loving so much. And, at the time, I felt I was bummed, but I was like, well, it's what has to happen, It was fun while it lasted, but, like, clearly my mom's, like, stressed out, and, if we can't pay for it, we can't pay for it, so I left. And I ended up going to public school. I went to Catholic school where actually my closest friend went, and we got some financial aid, and so it ended up being nearly free, which was great. But the fact that this experience that I was enjoying so much had to be stripped away from me because of money, I believe that really cemented, the idea that money is going to control your life if you don't pay attention to it and you don't have a handle on it. I often say, if you don't deal with your money will deal with you. So I think that overall experience is what got me to the place of, wanting to know how things were going and know in advance what my money reality, what issues, or both positive or negative, were going to cause for me before they happened, so that I wasn't caught off guard, and I gave myself enough runway to try to handle the situation without being like just unexpectedly dealt a difficult hand because of the money. So I don't know. I got into personal finance when in college. As I could see my debt was growing, I was like, I got to get a handle on this. So I started doing a little, journal of my expenses every day, like in a notebook. Then I was like, there's got to be a computerized way to do this. I found Quicken. I started doing that. Literally through using Quicken, I taught myself accounting. I mean, maybe not extreme, multinational corporate level accounting, but I taught myself the tenets of finance, and I took those skills with me into my business. And I mean, I was the CEO and CFO, and now I teach personal finance. Literally, Quicken, I have to say, I gotta pat it on the back. It definitely did me a few solids in life. Obviously, you don't need to use Quicken, use anything. Just get some software, pay attention to your money, learn your habits, learn how you can do forward-looking planning, and you plant the seeds today for what you want to happen tomorrow. And if you don't ever plant the seeds, tomorrow's going to come and you're not going to have any trees. So don't underestimate the value of planning. Okay, that's my sad story, but I think it worked out well in the end, and my mom and I are still close, and she did a lot of other great things. So talk to you later. Bye.